Hi, welcome to this DCP web tutorial. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to install GIMP 2.99 development release. So let's go ahead and open up the web browser. And what we'll do is just go to Google and type in GIMP here. And then we'll click on this link here, gimp.org. And then we'll go over to his website. We're going to click on this orange button here, download GIMP 2.10.22. And when we click on that, we don't want to download that particular version. You can download it if you haven't installed that. That's the most stable version, but we're going to go ahead and install 2.99. So this is getting closer to the release of version 3 of GIMP, which is going to be a big jump in terms of the software. So when we click on this development download page here, we'll see that we can get access to the development version. Now it may not be very stable. It says that it might be unstable and you might crash and so forth. So it's worth having 2.10.22 installed. That's to just do your normal stable work in GIMP, but you can also go and test out this 2.99 version. This is kind of looking into the future slightly to see what this particular version is going to be like. So let's go ahead and download it here. We'll click direct download and we're going to need to wait a few seconds here for it to fully download. Okay, the file is finished downloading. Here we can see GIMP 2.994. So I'm just going to drag this to the side and open up this folder, and we'll just drag and drop the file into this folder. Now remember, this is a development version, so it may not be stable, but it's still worth maybe possibly installing it so you can get up to speed in terms of what this particular version of GIMP might be like when you install this, right, for future. So this is a development version of GIMP where some features may not be finished or it may be unstable, right? So you just need to make note of that. Let's continue here. You can minimize this. Got a nice little new splash screen. Let's click install and then we'll get this installed and check out this new version. Okay, GIMP's finished installing. This is the new beta version, we can call it, or development version of 2.99. So let's go ahead and open up this software and check out and see what it's like. Okay, so to test this version of GIMP, let's just go ahead and download a few images from Pixabay. So we'll open up the web browser and I'm going to download a few different images. I'll put links to these images in the YouTube description, so if you want to use the same ones you can use them as well. So we'll just download a few different pictures and we'll just test out this beta version or development version of GIMP. Let's just see how stable it really is. So let's just download these 3 images. We'll just grab these and we'll just do something in GIMP. Let's just grab these images here. Okay, so I've got all these 3 images. Let's open up this folder and let's just go ahead and drag and drop these pictures into GIMP here, and let's close this. And let's go ahead and open up GIMP. So we've got GIMP 2.994. So this won't overwrite your current version of GIMP, which is 2.10 probably. So this will be almost running independently. So let's go ahead and open this. And you can see our new little splash screen here. And we've got the development version open. So what we really need to do is get this folder open. And we're going to drag and drop the picture of this woman first, right? We'll drag and drop that into GIMP. That seems to load up fine. So let's go ahead and duplicate this layer. So we can click on this little duplicate button here. So we've got 2 layers now. And in this particular version of GIMP, this development version, we can actually shift select. So now we can hold down the shift key and multi-select layers. And then you can actually use the move tool, hold down the shift key, and you can actually move multiple layers at the same time. You couldn't do that in the current version of GIMP. So this is kind of one really good improvement, that we can actually multi-select layers and move multiple layers at the same time. I know it sounds something very simple in Photoshop, but in the current version of GIMP you can't do this. So this is quite a good feature. Let's click on this top layer and let's just do a basic selection here. Let's just use the free select tool. I'm just going to do some quick selection around this image. I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing it. So let's just quickly create a quick selection around this person here, just as an example. Let's just see how this selection tool is working pretty well, hopefully. So we just make a little selection like this. So we've got a selection here. So I'm going to go to edit, copy this selection, and then create another new layer. Let's create a new layer here. It'll be with transparency here. Click OK, and then we'll just go to edit paste or Control V, and then we'll paste in that, and then we'll anchor it down. So now we've got just this transparent layer, right? can you see with the transparency, we just cut around this one. We did a pretty good job actually, so that's not too bad. Let's click on this layer here, this particular one, and let's go and drag these wings into the picture. So now we've got the wings in the background, right? So we can click on the wings and we can click the move tool and we can move them up a little bit to somewhere like here. So we're just having a little bit of fun here. So now this lady's got some wings, she can fly away. Excellent. Right, let's go back to this very top layer, click on it, and then we'll grab these branches and drag those into GIMP software. And now we've got these branches that sit in the foreground, right? Because they're at the very top layer. But if we were to drag them back one, then they'll sit behind the lady. And then we can click on this move tool. We can go over to here and drag them up. But you can see it's quite wide. So let's click on here and select the scale tool. We can click here and then scale in those branches to something like this. And we just move them down to about here somewhere, right? So I'm just using these tools to see how well they respond, and they seem to be pretty stable. They seem to work pretty well. So we just made a basic sort of mock-up picture here, just having a little bit of fun. But we can see that we can now go ahead and click on the wings, hold down the let's see, control key, and select this top layer, or hold down the control key and select this one. So really we've got the wings selected and the branches selected. We can click on the move tool, and I believe if we hold down the shift key, we can now move the branches and the wings, because they're two independent layers, but because we multi-select them, we can now move them together. And this is something very basic in something like Photoshop, but in GIMP, the current version, you can't do this, or I don't believe you can do this. So this is quite important. Let's just test out a couple of other things. Let's just go to the rotation tool. Let's click on these wings. Let's click them, and then let's try and rotate these wings slightly to an angle, and then we'll just accept that. Click that rotation, and now they're slightly off at an angle. So everything seems to work pretty well. Although they say it's a development version, obviously there must be some things in here that still need to be worked on. But it seems to be working pretty well. We can click on these wings. Let's just go ahead and duplicate them. We'll hide the bottom one, click on this top one. Let's just try out something like a Gaussian blur. Let's set the Gaussian blur quite high to something like this, and then click OK. Now our wings are blurred out. Let's take this layer and drag it above and then turn it back on. Now we've got this little glow effect around the edge of the wings, right? You can see that. We can turn off this layer and we can see the glow effect now because we applied Gaussian blur to that particular layer. Okay, I'm not really going to play around with this too much more. I might make some other tutorials, but because it's in development version, I think we'll stick to the latest version of GIMP, the latest stable version. But we might go in here and experiment, and maybe if we find some bugs or something like that, maybe we can report some bugs to GIMP. It would be nice for us to sort of help them in their development process. But I think this version seems pretty good to me. So let's just go ahead and save our work. Let's make sure we can actually save, okay? Let's go to Save As, and let's go ahead and let's just call this test-01. So that's our test version. Make sure we can export. So let's go Export As, and we'll select by file type. Let's just do a JPEG file. Click Export, and then we can go ahead and save it at 90% quality is fine. Let's just go ahead and export it. So let's see. So there might be a problem here saving this, right, as a JPEG file. Let's just try and export it one more time. Let's see. Let's export. So it looks like there's still some bugs in here, right? It failed to export this JPEG file. So we could probably save it as a PNG if we really wanted to. I don't really need to save this, but let's try anyway. PNG file. Let's see if that works. Yeah, it seems to be quite buggy. So I definitely wouldn't be using this for I mean, we'll save the GIMP file, so at least we have that. But I definitely wouldn't be using this for some sort of professional artwork or something that we're doing. This box here, when it opens, it says at the bottom, type any character to close this window. So just type any character and that will close that black window, just for reference. And we've got the GIMP file in here. Obviously we probably won't be able to open this in our current version of GIMP, but at least we know that it's working. You can go and experiment and familiarize yourself with multi-select layers and stuff like this. I think it's quite interesting to at least download it and play around with it, so that when this version will actually be version 3 of GIMP, right, 2.99, it's going to tick over to version 3, and then that will be the latest version of GIMP for you to go download and experiment. I think it's going to be a much better version of GIMP compared to the current system. Okay, hopefully you find this tutorial useful. Go and experiment with that latest version of GIMP, or the development version, and I hope you have fun, and I look forward to seeing you in the next DCP Word tutorial.